Julius Randle is a bad fit for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's pretty obvious. It's not just the ball hogging or defensive laziness, but there are two glaring reasons why the Wolves made a terrible mistake shipping off Cat to the Knicks.
No, but Towns is there. Payne put it on the glass.
Let's start with the most obvious one. Chemistry.
Randle, attack mode on James. He flips it up. No, it was clean.
The Wolves were one of the most dominant forces in the league last season, both offensively with Cat and Edwards, and defensively being ranked number 1 with 3 all-defensive selections along with 2 7-footers, Karl Anthony Towns, and Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. Karl Anthony Towns had been the Wolves' franchise player for nearly a decade, even though they barely made the playoffs each year. That is, of course, until they unlocked their new missing piece in rising superstar, Anthony Edwards.
Edwards gets it back and threw it down and won!
These two number 1 picks gelled perfectly by complementing each other's playstyles, with Edwards being a more ball-dominant, hyper-athletic ISO player who was aggressive enough to score from anywhere when needed, whilst being unselfish and having high enough IQ sufficient to know when to pass, lean on teammates, and create points in other ways. Cat was also a defensive and rebounding juggernaut who, at 7 feet, was both dominant in the paint and was one of the most efficient three-point shooters in the league. His size, efficiency, and high floor awareness made him great off the ball, and paired with Rudy Gobert, they dared the opposition to drive into the paint. The same formula that the Cavs are using to go 16-1 with Allen and Mobley. With Conley's veteran experience at the point and McDaniels' all-defensive strengths added to the mix, we had a championship contender on our hands. Unfortunately, Randle is also a ball-dominant, hyper-athletic ISO player who also needs the ball to be effective.
Spinning in the lane, beautifully done.
This means the ball doesn't move much when Edwards is on the court as well. Unlike Cat, Randle also sometimes likes to double up as a point guard, even though he is a forward, meaning the movement is off as well. Randle also doesn't pass as well as Cat and looks disappointed whenever he needs to pass the ball. Where in the past you had 2 big 7-footers in the paint waiting to be fed the ball and attack the rim, Randle almost always calls an ISO play, drives to the rim, kicks out when he can't finish, and doesn't do much else. That's why we have a lot of plays like this when he's on the court.
Gives it back to Randle. Randle.
While still on the topic of chemistry, no one can deny the bromance that Cat and Edwards shared off the court, as the leaders of the team having built their relationship steadily over the past 4 years in Minnesota. After their incredible playoff run last year, giving us the best series of the season against the Nuggets, no one would have ever thought these two would be broken up. But while chemistry can be built up, reason number 2 is not so easy to fix, and it's one area where the Wolves took a huge hit in their overall team structure. Defense. While offensively, Randle can go toe-to-toe with Towns. At 6'9", Randle is logging fewer defensive rebounds than Cat with 6 rebounds per game, as opposed to Cat's 10 in Minnesota, and fewer blocks as well. All this translates to fewer possessions and even less points as well. The Julius Randle experience has also been generally coupled with lazy defense. Unlike Cat, who knew that everyone was counting on him for rebounds, Randle only seems interested in the Timberwolves' offense, often stepping in to take the offensive load off Edwards, but not much else.
4 assists. Edwards to the basket!
With lower efficiency from 3 than Cat, he also turns over the ball more when he shoots, even though he has a green light to do so. The main thing with Cat, however, is that he was just as good defensively as he was offensively. That leaves the Timberwolves with a worse defensive ranking than they had last year. Lastly, even though Randle averages about 20 a night, he is just about as inconsistent as it gets when it comes to shooting efficiency. He could go 6 of 11, or 0 for 4. There's no telling what he might do. You might say, well, Cat had the same problem and he went 3 of 21 in the conference finals. True, but it doesn't help that they inherited the same problem even after trading away Cat. That means the trade didn't fix that consistency problem. In fact, it might have gotten even worse. Well then, you might say, if Randle is such a lousy shooter, then how come he averages 20 a night? Simple. By chewing through more possessions with ISO plays like this one.
Against the rookie connect, Randle misses after the pump fake.
Now, he's not a bad player by any means. The man is an all-star. But his offensive style was better on the Knicks, where you had a point guard like Brunson, who is more of a pass-first guy, and he was pretty much the only ISO player on the starting five. Ultimately, I don't know how the Timberwolves will resolve this. Do you think the Wolves can still make a comeback and contend for the title this year? Until the next one, like and subscribe.